The root of bitterness. And we find this in Hebrews chapter 12. And this will be verses 14 and 15. It says, "Pursue peace with all men and the sanctification without which no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one comes short of the grace of God, that no root of bitterness, springing up, causes trouble, and by it many be defiled." And it being this root of bitterness. You know, the problem with roots is they grow beneath the surface. Sometimes you can even hide them. These roots, they tend to grow downward first. You know, they try to get firmly established. And as they grow, these roots of bitterness, they spread out, affecting the surrounding area. By it many be defiled. Perhaps affecting even friends or family. Now, if we look in the book of Ephesians, we see a little bit more about this. This is Ephesians chapter 4, verses 31 and 32. You know, given enough time, these roots of bitterness that we just read about in Hebrews, these roots, they sprout up and they bear fruit. And Ephesians 4:31 talks about this. It says, "Let all bitterness," see, it starts with bitterness, that root of bitterness. "Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice." You know, that fruit that comes up when the roots of bitterness sprout, it can manifest as many different things. The first one mentioned here is wrath. The root of bitterness sprouting up can produce wrath. And that's rage, just waiting to come out in the heat of a moment. You can't really control it. It just comes out. The next fruit that can be manifest from these roots of bitterness is anger. This is an internal, deep hostility towards something or someone. The next thing that can manifest is clamor. And clamor is when you are out of control with your words. You're saying things that you're saying things before you can really even think about them. There is no filter. And finally, another fruit that can manifest from these roots of bitterness is slander. And that is just evil speaking against others. You know, oftentimes in the midst of all of these fruits from the root of bitterness, undeserving people become collateral damage, whether you want them to be or not. Wrath, anger, clamor, and slander. Sometimes it hits unintended targets. So don't let these roots of bitterness grow deep. You can try to hide them, but the more you hide this bitterness, it just grows deeper and deeper and gets a stronger root. Don't let these roots of bitterness grow deep. Don't let your joy be stolen by this weed. Don't let them steal your joy. Live in peace. Live in peace. Just as we see here in verse 32, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving each other, just as God in Christ also has forgiven you. So live in peace. This is a peace beyond all understanding, the peace that can only be found in Christ. Pull up those roots of bitterness.